Hello, everyone. Welcome to peer-to-peer sessions, Being Successful at Vendor Markets / Pop-ups with Jaden Reyes of Brown Sugar Stationery and Design. My name is Hendrik Hernandez Resto. I am the creative specialist for New Bedford Creative. Thank you for joining us today. Before I go any further, please enter your first and last name in the chat along with your email for our records. Thank you. This peer-to-peer series is geared to enrich, educate, and connect creatives within our community. New Bedford is the home of artists, creatives, changemakers, designers, entrepreneurs, and community enthusiasts, and the peer-to-peer sessions embraces the pulse that makes New Bedford so unique while also expanding our knowledge and connections. New Bedford Creative offers many opportunities for artists and cultural organizations. Join our creative directory, apply for one of our grants, or call for arts. List your event on our calendar, all for free, at our website, newbedfordcreative.org. Peer-to-peer sessions is supported in part by the City of New Bedford through the American Rescue Plan Award and Arts, Culture, and Tourism Fund, facilitated by New Bedford Creative at the New Bedford Economic Development Council. We would like to thank Mayor John Mitchell, his administration, and the entire New Bedford City Council for their continued support of the creative sector. This is just one component of a broader initiative to boost arts-based economic development and help the creative sector recover from the pandemic. Before I introduce our presenter, I want to go over the format for this session. Once I'm done, I'll pass it over to Jaden. Once Jaden is finished, we will open up for Q&A. I will review the questions in the chat first, and then we can continue with the Q&A live. We will have about 20 minutes for questions so we can wrap up by 2 p.m. Just so everyone is aware, this session will be recorded. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat so we don't miss them when we are open up for Q&A. Most sessions throughout the series have been recorded and can be found on our YouTube channel at New Bedford Creative in the following weeks. I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Jaden Reyes, who will teach you all about how to be successful at vendor markets and pop-ups. Now we'll pass it over to Jaden to share more details of who she is and what she will present for us today. Go for it, Jaden. I am muting myself now.
So welcome, everybody. And thank you for joining me today. So as you guys know, I'm Jaden Reyes, the owner of Brown Sugar Stationery and Design, and I'm super excited to share with you guys some valuable insights on how to be successful at vendor markets as a small business. This is where I started out my business, and I'd love to share, my expertise with you guys. I don't gatekeep, so I'm super excited. All right, so in today's presentation, we'll cover everything from understanding your market to engaging with customers and managing your finances. Vendor markets offer a really fantastic opportunity for small businesses to gain exposure, increase your sales, and network with both your customers, but other vendors as well. So let's go into the details. Understanding your market. So this is the first step to, your success at markets or pop-ups. And researching the demographics of the market attendees really ensures that your products are a good fit. So for me, if I know that a market is just strictly like a farmer's market, I'm not going to attend because I don't sell, farmers market related things. And you really want to analyze the presence of your competitors to better understand, what they offer, but also identifying the different gaps that you may be able to fill. So don't be discouraged if you see that there are like 50 other artists. You're different. So definitely still go ahead and sign up. And this knowledge helps tailor your approach to meet the specific needs of your target audience. Choosing the right markets. So it's super, super crucial, like I said, to choose the right markets. There are various types of vendor markets. So there's like your farmers markets, your craft fairs, your trade shows, and then there are other markets that kind of combine all three. A lot of the markets that I attend, they're a mix of both craft fairs, but also, farmers markets. And you want to select markets that align with your product offerings. Consider factors like your location, the foot traffic, the market's reputation, and this strategic choice can significantly impact your success. Um, I do suggest kind of looking at the local markets around and see, what they are, attend them before you actually sign up for them. I've done Soam, which is in Somerset. I've done Buy Black New Bedford, which is in New Bedford. I've done the Huddleston markets and then some pop-ups here and there, but I always try and look at their social media, look at what their promo is like to get a better understanding of who, may be there. Preparation is key. So preparing your inventory is super important. And estimating your inventory needs based on market size and past sales data is obviously, top priority. But if it's your first time doing a market, you're not going to have that data to look back on and fall back on. So like I said, definitely do your research. If you have other friends that have done markets or pop-ups, reach out to them and, ask them if they're willing to share, what was the market like? Was there a lot of foot traffic? And that will ensure that you have enough stock to meet demand, but obviously you want to avoid overstocking. Being somebody that started out with doing everything handmade, it was super important to me that I had enough stock, but I also didn't want to be stuck with an overstock. And you want to maintain high quality in your products and offer a variety of options to appeal to different customer preferences. So normally what I would do to avoid overstock or being understocked is I kind of look at what markets I've signed up for the year. Me personally, I always sign up or prepare to sign up the year prior, especially with summer markets because they do fill up really quickly. So I'll look at what the dates are and what are the holidays surrounding that. So I know for me, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, those are huge hitters for me. So I know I'm going to want to be stocked up in May for my Mother's Day. Graduation is huge. So you really want to, make sure you have enough stock for that. Next up, so pricing strategies. Pricing your products competitively while ensuring profitability is really essential. So research your competitor pricing and set your prices accordingly. You don't want to be too low, you don't want to be too high, but you obviously want to still make a profit. And a lot of the different markets are not free. So if your vendor market fee is $75, you have to think about the fee for the vendor market, your prep time, your travel expenses. Those are all, need to be factored in what you at least minimum have to make. Because that goes into, we'll kind of get into that later on as far as like choosing, if it's profitable for you and whatnot. But researching competitor prices, especially at markets that you're going to that some of your competitors will be at, you want to be a little bit lower than them if you can, because it kind of, boosts customers in your direction. But consider offering deals and discounts to attract customers. So for instance, I've done that. I usually do that at every market I do. I'll do like a 2 for $5 or limited time discounts, or maybe I'll do like if you sign up for my mailing list, you'll get 15% off today. And that really drives and creates a sense of urgency for the customer. I know for me, if I see like a BOGO, I'm going to do it because free is for me. And I know other people's minds work that way as well. And my top tip is to have tiered pricing. I always tell those that ask me for advice about doing markets, they'd be like, Jaden, I don't know what to price things at. For me, I was the same way in the beginning. I was like, well, I know I need to make money, but I also, want to be low in my prices to get sales. But I usually like to do a low income, median, and then a higher end. So what I'll do, I'll have maybe something for 50 cents to $1. It's good quality, but I know that I'll be making majority profit if it's handmade. Because a lot of my stuff is handmade and I do it in bulk. So I can, afford to sell something at 50 cents and still make, majority of the money back. So I'll do 50 cents to $1. My next tier would be around $5 to $15. And then my higher end is anywhere 15 plus. And that allows for your different customers to come into your booth and say, oh, okay, I don't have to spend an arm and a leg. There are 100 other, vendors here that I want to, kind of spend my money and share my wealth with. So this way they become a customer. You're happy, they're happy. Great day for everybody. Creating an attractive booth. So if you guys attended last week's, or if you didn't, definitely go watch it. We talk about branding. So your booth is your storefront, and creating an attractive and inviting booth layout is key. So you want to use eye-catching signage, strong branding to draw in your customers. And you want to make sure that your booth is very organized with products displayed clearly and appealing. A well-designed booth can really boost your foot traffic and sales, or it can deplete them. So let me see if I can move this here. So on the right, you'll see the right top. I'm holding my daughter when she was a baby. That was the very first market I did. That was the day I debuted my business. And I had no idea what I was doing. I kind of went on Pinterest and looked at what people did at vendor markets or pop-ups. But I wanted to, showcase my brand, be organized, and that's what I did. And it turned out really well. And then on the left, you'll see one of my later markets that I did last summer. And I think that was at the Huddleston in Fairhaven. And you can see the bright colors. You can see my signage in the back. I make sure that my brand is noticeable. And I believe that day I was like surrounded by 2 other artists, but I noticed that people, when they walked by, even though I was towards the end, they walked by, they came to my booth immediately. They saw the bright colors. They were intrigued by my layout. I normally like to have, at certain markets, I've known and I've realized that, okay, there's a lot of kids at this market. There's a lot of families. So I'll usually put like stickers and stuff below, because I'm like, all right, I know a child's going to grab this. They're going to show their parent, and maybe that will, draw their eye line elsewhere. So I put my products very strategically, and it allows for their eye line to follow my booth. So the other thing is, I started out my pop-ups doing one table. I had a lot of products, but I made them fit neatly. I've done markets where I had 3 tables, but I always set up in a certain way to where the customer feels invited in. So I normally do not put my tables on the outskirts of the tent. I make it so they have to be invited into my booth. They have to come in. So I'll do like a U shape, and it allows them to come into my space. At vendor markets, you want to make your booth as much like a storefront as possible. So, I always stand behind my table and I say, hey, how are you? You want to come in? I sell stationery, be very friendly and inviting. And customers shop with their eyes before their wallet. So that's why I always say, make sure your stuff is colorful if it calls for it. Make sure it's neatly organized, and you should be good. So, essential supplies. Now, this is subjective because obviously if you're selling food or other things, you might need different equipment. But for me, having the right supplies is critical. When I first did my markets, there was some times where I would forget certain things. Like one time I had to have my husband go back to the house to grab tables because I forgot my tables. So prepare a checklist of essential items like tables, chairs, display racks, and signage, and also bring backup supplies such as your extra bags. But you also want to have a cash box. And if nowadays people usually use Apple Pay or their card, so you do want to have like a mobile payment device. And being well prepared ensures smooth operation and enhances your professional image. So for me, I always have my tables, my chairs, my linens. I always have fitted linens. I think it looks much better, and I'm able to hide my extra product underneath my table, and it looks very professional. A cash box. You definitely want to have a cash box, because even if people are paying mobily, there are people that do, pay with cash, and you want to make sure it's safe and secure. Extra bags. I always, always, always make sure my bags are branded. So I will have a sticker on the outside. I will always put a business card on the inside. it's just good branding practice. You want to have extra business cards, display racks. And when I first started, I went right to Dollar Tree, right to Target's dollar section, and I grabbed some, little plastic mason jars for my pens, or, you got to think out of the box. So like a dish rack, you could use that for certain products. I have wooden ones that I got from Target for $1, and I still use them till this day, 2 years later, for my art prints. Shelving, you can get that from Etsy. You want to make sure you have your product stock and a tent. Now, if you do a market with a tent, make sure you have at least 20-pound weights for each leg. There was an instance where I was at a market, and the person across from me did not have weights. The wind picked up the tent, and it blew into mine. I lost a bunch of product because it got damaged. The next thing is bring coolers and snacks. Especially in the summertime, it gets super hot and you get really hungry. You're there to make money. So even though there may be like food trucks, definitely, you don't want to spend all the money you make. So, pack a snack or two if you're like me. And an email sign up sheet. When I first did markets, I kind of did a lot of research because I was like, I don't want to go into this like totally blind. So I seen something that said just to have a sign up sheet for your newsletter. And at the time, I didn't even have a newsletter yet, but I was like, you know what, we'll do it. So how I went about that was I said, okay, we'll do a giveaway. And everybody that signed up on the email sign up sheet got entered into a giveaway to win a free mug. Everybody that came to my booth, I think I had like 80 signups. It was a great way to, market myself and also get subscribers to my emailing list. Next, engaging with customers. So engagement is the key to success. You really want to develop effective communication, and to interact with customers. Greet them very warmly, be approachable, and listen to their needs, but also be yourself. And providing excellent customer service really allows, for first time visitors to become loyal customers. So remember, a positive experience can lead to repeat business and word of mouth referrals. You don't know how many times people have come to my booth, they come by themselves, and then they're like, oh, I gotta go grab my husband. Oh, I gotta go grab my wife. And they're just super personable. It's a super personable experience. And it's different than selling online. So online, it's like transactional. In person, be friendly, start conversation, even if they don't buy anything. Be like, hey, you want to follow me on Instagram, or here's a business card, whatever. And then you want to gather customer feedback. So customer feedback is invaluable. Collect the feedback through surveys, direct conversations, or like a suggestion box. And then you want to use this feedback to identify different strengths and areas for improvements. So implementing customer suggestions shows that you value their opinions and are committed to providing the best experience possible. Marketing and promotion. So this is why I say do your research before you sign up for markets, because a lot of people nowadays, they're doing markets, they're not doing promo for it, nobody shows up. So you want to market yourself as well. So marketing your presence is essential. You want to promote your participation in the market through social media, local advertisement, listings, through your email. On site, you can use like flyers and business cards to attract attention, but creating a buzz before and during the market increases your visibility and can lead to higher sales. Accepting payment. So I kind of covered this a little bit with your essentials, but flexibility in your payment options can enhance the customer's experience. So accepting cash, credit and debit, mobile payments, ensure your payment system, but also ensure your payment system is secure to protect, your business, but also your customers. So offering multiple payment options make it convenient for your customers to purchase from you. Me personally, I have a Venmo for my business. I also have my POS system, which I use Square. I love it. I have a little card reader. I also have a chip reader as well. And then I have my cash box. So I make sure that I cover all bases, because I don't want somebody to come to me and be like, oh, well, I only have cash, or I only have card. It's like, no, I want that sale. So I'm going to make sure I have every, technology available to, to make that sale. And, with a POS system, I always suggest, if you can afford it, to get one, because, managing your finances is crucial for understanding your market's performance. So you want to track all your sales and expenses meticulously, and you can use this data to analyze profitability and identify areas for improvement. And effective financial management helps you make informed decision and plan for future growth. So there's certain markets that I just do not do anymore because they were not profitable for me. I spent $50 for a vendor fee, and I essentially lost money because I didn't, sell anything. There wasn't enough foot traffic. But then there's markets that I've done where they were free markets and I've made $800 or $700. And that's great for me. I made out amazing. So now I know, for future reference, they marketed well. It was a good foot traffic turnout. And I was able to, build a rapport with the vendors around me. Networking, that brings us to this. So this is super important. Every vendor market I'm at, I'm always looking to the left and the right of me, making friends immediately, because you never know. There was times where, like, I ran out of bags and I had to get them from somebody else. Or there's times that I've even collabed with the people beside me at the next vendor market. We did like a deal together. So networking with other vendors can be highly beneficial. And building relationships with the fellow vendors to share experiences, tips, and support. Collaborations, such as like cross promotions or joint events, can really enhance your visibility and customer base. And a strong vendor network can provide valuable resources and opportunities. So what has happened in the past with me is, I become friends with a vendor that's next to me, and even right then and there, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we could do a deal. Like, they purchase from you, they get like 10% off from me, or vice versa. Or even do, like, I'll take some of their business cards. I'll usually walk around and grab business cards from other people, and I'll send people down there. And there's so many customers that I've had at markets where they have been sent to me from somebody 5 booths down. It's a great opportunity to make friends. So post-market follow-up, I think that this is one of the most important things that you can do when you start doing vendor markets. So after the market, evaluate your performance and review your sales data, your inventory levels, and customer interactions to assess what worked and what did not. You want to follow up with new contacts you made through email, social media, just to like maintain that engagement. And this continuous improvement cycle helps you refine your strategy for future markets. So also, example of mistakes. So core booth setup is usually number one. Insufficient inventory. You really want to make sure you have enough inventory, because it's kind of a bummer when somebody's like, I want 5 of these stickers, you only have 1. You can avoid it. So avoiding common mistakes can save you time and money. And some pitfalls include, your poor booth setup, you're just not attracting anybody, and the insufficient inventory. And that's it. I'm open to questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jaden. That was excellent. At this time, we're going to open it up for questions. I'll start with the questions that are in the chat first, and then if there are any questions to add, we will address them then. Please feel free to unmute yourself when we finish with the questions in the chat. We would love for this to be an active and open conversation. As I look through the chat here, it does not appear that anybody has asked any questions there. So if you would like to ask a question right now, please unmute yourself and just go, and then we'll try to make it orderly.
So my quick question, what has been your favorite local market and local, like, Massachusetts area?
Oh, that is such a hard question. So it depends. For me, like, the very first pop-up I did was at my aunt's floral shop, but the second one I did was Buy Black. And oops, sorry, my alarm's going off. It was at Buy Black, and that by far was the best experience I had. And I only say that because that's where I met Samia Walker, and that started my e-for-all journey, and it was amazing. I met so many connects there. I think, and that was, like, to date, one of my most profitable markets. It was such a great experience, such a great experience. Justina Perry is amazing. She markets the hell out of that particular market. It's great. And to me, you don't just have to, look at local ones. I've done so even though I'm in New Bedford, I've done Somme. That's a really great one. I suggest that everybody do that one. What is her name? Allison, I believe that's her name, that runs it. She's amazing. She's amazing. And that one, she markets like crazy for that one as well. And I've always done super, that comes close second with Buy Black. The organization is there. Is for me, what makes a market, a favorite of mine is one that is the coordinator is organized, has the booths, the booths set up in a pleasing way as far as like, so both with Justina and Allison, they will not put two businesses that are alike next to each other because they want their customers to really circle around, the grounds. So I would definitely say those are tied. Those are tied. I think, well, Buy Black wins a little bit because that was just one of my favorite markets to do.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, I have a quick question. So this year I feel more prepared. I'm doing the Huddleston market once a month. I've signed up for it because I'm working. So I'm just hoping to have enough inventory. I have had some friends that are also creators that have talked about things like, can I also like say I have 3 tables, can I use one of the tables to help other people sell their stuff? And I've been thinking about doing it like whatever they charge, I would just keep $1 per sale. But coming from someone who has experience doing these markets, do you think it's worthwhile to give up some of my space to something like that, that it would maybe diversify me a little bit more? Or is it better to kind of keep that territory for more inventory?
So this actually isn't up to you. So a lot of markets do not allow booth sharing. And to me, I think that's good because you want people to come to your booth for you. Because what if somebody comes to your booth and they like somebody else's product more than yours? You know what I mean? So usually markets don't allow booth sharing unless it's like a special circumstance. But I don't advise it, to be honest. I like it. Yeah, I don't advise it. I've tried one other time I was gonna try and share a booth with somebody else just because that person didn't get approved in time. She was waitlisted, but we kind of a lot of our products like coincided with each other. We already had big followings, so people both know, each other's business. But yeah, I wouldn't advise it.
Thank you. It's nice to know that that's a rule because then I can kind of have
Yeah.
like, no, I can't do that. Just
Yeah, a
it takes a
lot of
lot of
people don't
preparation.
allow it.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
I don't know if this was just me, Jaden, but about halfway through your presentation, the slides get cut off. Was that just
That's
me?
weird.
I'm just wondering if you could share your screen again and go back a little bit just so we can see the full
That's so
slides.
weird. Did you guys see this
Uh,
one?
Yeah, this one was good.
Okay.
All right.
And then we had our essentials, the
This
engagement.
this is where it
customer.
started to get cut off, I think.
Oh, okay. That's so weird. The marketing and promotions. And then we had, let's see, accepting payment. So just making sure like I feel like this is one of like the most important because a lot of people don't realize that like and even if you have a cash box, make sure you get change. Because I've made that mistake many times. If you just want to be super prepared.
I have a question regarding sales
Yes.
and sales tax. How do you go about that?
So in my POS system, I automatically include the sales tax. I believe for Massachusetts 6.25. Automatically include it because you do not want to have to go back and deduct it, and then you realize that you didn't charge enough. That's a terrible feeling to have. Because then it has to come out of your profit. The market follow-up.
I love this booth, the way that looks.
That was one of my favorite ones. And then now my banner's changed. Let me see. I don't think I have an extra one around me, but my banner has changed because my logo's changed. Well, it's literally
right behind you.
Yeah, I was
me.
gonna say, isn't it the backdrop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always make sure. And then, so the other thing too is I'm actually going to be, was this the last slide? Yeah, it was. I'm gonna be putting together like a in-person vendor market like support group type situation, just so I can even give you guys ideas, or even if we could do it through email, um, a list of supplies that I use, because I have a Amazon, what is it called? Like a list. I think you can like put all your products in. So a majority of what I use for my markets come from Target, the Dollar Tree, or Amazon. Super affordable. The most expensive thing that I use for my markets are my tent. That was pretty expensive, but it's a one-time purchase. You don't have to do it again. And one of my shelving units, because I got it from Etsy, it was specifically made for stationery items. Um, but other than that, you can get your signage made at Staples, or you can come to Brown Sugar Stationery. You can also, oh, number one thing, get a wagon. Get a wagon with those industrial wheels, because you do not want to be making 55 trips to and from your car. Terrible. I did that the first 2 markets. After that, I was like, absolutely not getting a wagon. And starting out too, I used to bring my daughter with me. I still sometimes do. So I would bring like a dome for her. At the time, she was only like 6 months, 8 months. So I would bring, toys and stuff for her. So if you have children, you have to bring them, definitely try and keep them occupied. Because it was sometimes a hard feat. If my husband couldn't come with me, I'm over here trying to breastfeed and make sales. Craziness. But yeah, so I'm just trying to think of some other little like tips and tricks. Really just be yourself, honestly. That's how I always attracted my customers. Sorry if this alarm keeps going off. Um, yeah.
Hannah has a question in the chat. Did you hire someone to create your branding and banners?
Me myself, and I offer that as a service now too. So I don't know if you attended last week's presentation, but I went through that whole thing. But I actually offer that now, like a one-on-one. So if you wanted to email to kind of get that started, we can. And then hopefully in July I'll be doing an in-person workshop.
That session that Jaden is mentioning is available on YouTube now. So that branding and marketing that she is speaking on, you can see exactly what she means.
I had one more quick question. Do you have a good strategy for taking like commissions, since you do this kind of more in-depth work? Do you make that available during your markets, or is that something that like someone would have to email you for?
Absolutely, absolutely. So like what I'll do, I've experimented with doing like on-site like mini portraits, but it does take a lot of my time. And if I don't, like, my husband does know my pricing and like he knows my products and stuff, but obviously I'm the artist, so I know it best. Usually what I'll do, I will dialogue with somebody. But if it goes a little too in depth for commissions, I'll usually take down the information. I can, I always tell them like later tonight, I'll send you like an invoice or whatever, and we can kind of keep that dialogue going through email. But I usually try not to, just because I feel like, one, it's easily to like get interrupted. There's been plenty of times where I've started conversations like that, and then, we get a line of customers, and I hate to cut somebody off, to go in and make a sale. But yeah, I usually try and keep that to email, or I'll even tell them like, hey, like, if you're going to be here all day, when I'm packing up, we can kind of continue the conversation. But I'll usually give them my work number. I'm usually open to communication after a market, but it's super hard. I've taken orders like that before, like custom orders, like while I was working, and I have ADHD. My brain was everywhere.
Yeah, that was that's why I'm like, I could like make up a form that they could fill out, but would it
Oh,
be?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've done that as well. Alongside my email sign up sheet, I usually have a form like tucked in my bag for, customs. Um,
Okay, cool. Thank you.
no problem.
This was a great session. I'd like to thank Jaden once again for all their hard work. Also, I want to thank our funder, the City of New Bedford, for making this possible. Please be sure to visit our website, www.newbedfordcreative.org. That's newbedfordcreative.org. and join our free creative directory. This is a list that we use to promote on our social media throughout the year. Make sure to add your events, gallery exhibitions, or more to our calendar page that is linked to South Coast Today. We want our creatives to excel, and we are here to help. We have plenty of peer-to-peer sessions coming up. Please join us for our next session, An Artist Grant and a Dream, Part 1, with Allison Wells on Tuesday, June 4th at 1 p.m. And I have it right there. I don't know if we double sent it in, but I had the Eventbrite right there. So the link's in the chat as well. Again, that's Allison Wells with An Artist Grant and a Dream, Part 1, Tuesday, June 4th, 2024, 1 p.m. via the Zoom, like we're doing it now. Lastly, the recording of today's session will be on our YouTube channel within the next week. And you can find us on YouTube at New Bedford Creative. Have a great day, and thank you for your participation.